Good morning, my good people of Anioma land. My name is Dr. Nwangwo-Toniwezigwe. I am the Odogwu of Ibuzo. I am currently the president of the National Coalition Against Christian Genocide in Nigeria. I was a pioneer director, Center for Igbo Studies, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Arising from my last statement, I have to touch on two issues which a lot of people demanded that I should elaborate more as an expert historian. And today, we're going to look at two issues. One is the fact that not all the people who constitute Southeast Igbo today, I mean all the people who today claim to be Ndigbo in the 5 states of Anambra, Abia, Imo, Enugu State, and Ebonyi State, not all of them are Igbo. And not all of them are of Igbo origin. And in fact, as we come later to know, I will explain later, most of these people talking about Anioma Igbo are not even Igbo in origin, in their own right of existence as members of the Southeast Igbo. So we're going to look at it to prove that not all the people who are singing Ndigbo in the Southeast zone today, insulting our people that are denying Igbo identity, not all of them are Igbo, and not all the communities in the Southeast are Igbo today. The second aspect is that before the emergence of colonial rule, before the emergence of British colonial masters, the present Ndigbo Southeast Igbo never referred to Anioma people as Ndigbo. They refer to us as Ndiolu. So we're going to look at these facts before now coming to the position, to the actual position of Anioma people. But before then, let me correct one impression. I may be His Royal Majesty, the Asaba of Asaba, will be Professor Epiphany Azinge, SAN, might have misunderstood my last lecture to mean that he does not believe in Anioma state creation again. No. I only meant, what I meant was that his exit from the technical committee heralds a stronger position for people like us who believe otherwise on the issue of creation of Anioma state. Because outside him in that technical committee, I don't know any other person who can match him in personality, in outreach, in intellectual output. I need to be corrected. And to be corrected, I want those who constitute technical committee members to publish their names and publish their whatever thing they stand as their own. Let them publish their identity. I'm not talking about their qualification. Let them publish who they are so that we know them. That is what I meant. As far as Anioma state agitation stands today, there are 3 schools of thought. Number one are those who believe that the new Anioma state will move to the southeast. And these people are led by Senator Nedi Nwoko. These are the people who believe that Anioma is the state, will form the future state of Biafra in case Nigeria breaks up today. So we call them the Biafran agitation group of Anioma state movement. The second group are those who believe that Anioma state will be created, but it must remain in the South-South geopolitical zone. This is the group His Royal Majesty, the Asaba of Asaba, Obi Epiphany Azinge, believes in. On the other hand, the third group, which I belong, are those who believe that there's no need for Anioma state. The present data state fulfill the aspiration of Anioma state agitation. We demanded for Anioma state, and Babangida decided for our own collective interest, for Anioma collective interest, to give us Delta State as an alternative state for Anioma State. And what makes a state? We have the state capital today. So the issue of leaving the present Delta State, the problem of leaving exiting from the present Delta State should not rest on Anioma people, but other people. As far as we are concerned, we are full owners of this present Delta State, and there's nobody is driving us away. And that is where we stand out. We should channel our energies to other things, not about Anioma creation now. Nobody's talking about state creation again in the southeast. Nobody's talking in the southwest. Nobody's talking in the north. It's only Anioma state that people, for political survival reason, have decided to take the issue of Anioma as a personal, as a political scheme. Otherwise, we'll be thinking about the present situation of Nigeria today with respect to the issue of American intervention, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. And in fact, that was what I was discussing with my friend, the late Odogu of Asaba, Obi Nwanzo Odua, before his death. Because it is right time we stand back as Anioma people and define our existence based on adequate security of our people and our property. That was what I was discussing with him before he died. So the issue of Anioma state for people like me is not our major issue now. We are comfortable here. With the highest thing any group of people can produce in a state is the state governor, and we have produced it. We have produced other things, so nobody's talking about marginalization. And over the years, we have lived comfortably with Yoruba people. I knew Yoruba people as a kid. When they were living together with my uncle at Iyabi camp there, we lived together as Yoruba people, as Delta State people. So we must understand between ethnic sentiment based on hollow political future and inter-ethnic relationship that dates back into centuries. That is on the other part. And let me state today that the issue of Anioma Igbo, Anioma identity, Anioma origin is a historical matter. It is a professional historical matter. It is not where anybody can come and start talking because you have the advantage of the social media. Anybody who comes out again to speak on Anioma identity, on Anioma origin, should tell us his pedigree, intellectual pedigree to start with. Tell us your qualification. Tell us your area of study. What is your community, your town? Tell us your pedigree in the town. If your own position in your town can even allow you, can even permit you to be a spokesman of your own Omona. Not talking about your village or your town. Before you can come and start voicing your ignorance on the issue of Anioma identity, Anioma settlement. These are historical matters. And even within the university setting, there are disciplinary boundaries. You cannot be an expert in one field and think you are also an expert in another field. You respect it. Because there are people who are trained tortuously to get knowledge within a defined discipline. Even within the historical discipline where I belong, there are specializations within the discipline. If you specialize in American history, you can't come and start debating with somebody who specialized in Russian history. So we must respect that. And your society is a learned society, it's a civilized society. We don't want people who are riffraff intellectually to come and insult our traditional rulers and then model up our history and identity. So I want us to understand that today, I am speaking from the position of an authority in history, especially in Igbo history. And let us, most of us who are talking Ndigbo, they don't even know their history. Let me even start from the main classification, because the main standing classification on which most of us, including Igbo and others, rested their further studies is that of Ford and Jones. Their research in the history of Ibibio and Igbo-speaking people, published in 1950. That is the standard classification of Igbo ethnic group. And in that classification, the Igbo were divided into 5. You have the Northern Igbo, who constitute mainly the present Anambra and Enugu states. You have the Southern Igbo, who constitute mainly the present Imo and some parts of Abia State. You have the Southeastern Igbo, or what we call the Cross River Igbo, who constitute majorly of the present Abia State today. And you have the Northeastern Igbo, or what we call Oguku, who constitute the present Ebonyi State today. These are subcultural zones of the Igbo, and they have different origins. In none of these states, okay, let me say the 51 are now the river, the Western Igbo, which is our own people. The Western Igbo as class, we call them. And within the Western Igbo, Ford and John divides us, gave us a subdivision, 3 subdivisions among the Western Igbo. First of subdivision are what we term the Northern Eka, because actually it's term for our Western Igbo is Eka, not Western Igbo. But and this was established in his subdivisions. According to them, Ford and Jones, the Western Igbo are divided into Northern Eka, constituting the present Eka South, Eka Northeast, Anocha North, Anocha South, Oshimili South, Oshimili North, local government areas. These ones, make up the what they call the Northern Eka. And this also constitutes the original Asaba division. And then the second division are the Southern Eka. The Southern Eka now constitute the main Ukwane, the present Ndokwa East, Ndokwa West, and Ukwane local government areas. These are the Southern Eka. And mind you, these are the core Ukwane people. When you're talking of Ukwane, Ukwane constitute the present Ndokwa West and Ukwane local government area. These are the core Ukwane, subcultural division of Anioma land. Then the other one, the third one, and now what we call, what is known as Ndokwa East, or what traditional is known as Ndo-Simile, with Abo as the center, or what we call the riverine Igbo land. We call them the riverine Igbo land, and these are Ndo-Simile, according to our tradition, centered at Abo. And it was in fact a combination of Ukwane and Ndo-Simile that gave us the present Ndokwa term, Ndokwa, a combination of the two. As Igbo's later studies now separated riverine Igbo, made riverine Igbo as a separate subgroup, now making it 6 subgroups. in that respect included some areas like Ugute, and other areas as part up to Egbema, Asaba, Ila, some parts of, in fact, some parts of this Ndosimili as forming the riverine Igbo. That was Igbo's addition. And if you look at this classification, you find that the original Anioma land not only extended to Onitsha and Oberu, but also extended to the present River State, where you have Ndoni, Oba, Egbema, local government area today. This particular local government in River State was formerly part of the present Ndokwa East local government area. So originally, Governor Odili was from Delta State before boundary adjustment. Now put them in River State. They were formerly part of our Delta State. That was boundary adjustment. The Egbema in River State now also separated from Egbema in Imo State. And it was this Egbema in River State that cut off Imo State from direct access to River Niger. Because the Egbema in River State blocked the Egbema in Imo State and also blocked Uguta, local government area, from access to the River Niger. So these people stopped Imo State from having direct access to the River Niger. And if you look at Jones' studies, they said clear that before the emergence of Europeans, that people from the present Delta State were known as Olu, Ndiolu, by the Igbo of Southeast. He called them the hinterland Igbo, refer to the present people in Delta State and the riverine area as Ndiolu. And because most of Ndiolu people also speak dialects of Igbo language, the Igbo of hinterland refer them as their brothers, not as Ndigbo. And those who are conversant with Igbo culture and tradition, especially in matters of breaking of kola nut, the rituals of breaking kola nut, you discover that the Igbo man, a typical Igbo man who is breaking kola nut, will always mention when he's praying about group protection, group interrelationship, love among diverse groups. He will say, Olu ni Igbo, egbukwa n'olu, ma olu egbukwa n'Igbo, maka na Igbo n'olu bụ nwanne. Let Igbo not kill Olu people, and let Olu not kill Igbo, because Olu and Igbo are kinsmen. That is a standard version of the customary breaking of kola nut in Igbo land. So originally, the people of the present Anioma land were never called as Ndigbo. And that is why we normally refer to the people in the east as Ndigbo. Even within Anioma land, if you ask a Kaman defines people, Aniocha and Oshimili people, they refer to us as Ndi Uzo Igbo. They don't call us Igbo. Ika people don't call us Igbo. They call us Ndi Uzo Igbo. Whereas we call that Ndi Uzo Ihu Idu. These are the things we reference ourselves within Anioma subculture area. So the issue we have said the issue of identity is personal to the group, and it's not contingent on common. It's not contingent on common language. It is the group. If the group decide to call themselves devil Ekwensu, fine. Nobody should tell you you can't answer Ekwensu because you're this. No. If you decide to take your guy name or nickname, people start calling you a nickname. Like in my secondary school days in Akukubu, I was known as Pringosta. Some people still, refer to me as Pringosta. That was what I chose as my identity at that time, social identity, and it remained. even to some of my colleagues today. So it's not something somebody will impress you, must be Igbo. And let us even go to Igbo. Of all the, as I stated earlier, of all the 5 states, none of the 5 states of the Southeast are pure Igbo land, are pure Igbo in origin. Let's start from Anambra State. The present Anambra, the present what was it? Anambra East, the Anambra Anyamelu, Anambra East, Anambra West, Anyamelu local government area. I meet Igbo and Igala. A lot of them are still speaking Igala today. Nzam, the capital, the headquarters of Anambra West local government area, Nzamanam, which is directly opposite Ila at the upper arm of the River Niger, northern part of Onitsha. They still speak Igala today. They are Igala. They are proud Igala people. Many Igbo people. We are talking of Nri is Igbo. Nri is Igala by origin. That's my own area of expertise. Nri is Igala by origin. I mean, Omo is Igala. And a lot of towns in Anambra State, Onitsha is mainly divided between Ezechime and Igala. Uguno Obokpa people are Igala people. The Igala people, the Oboru people are mixed between Igala and Igbo within the Anambra State setting. So they are nothing like 100% Igbo in the Southeast today. Coming to Enugu State, 90% of Uzowan local government areas are Igala. Igala speaking. Igala and Igala speaking. They are Ibaji, Igala and Igala speaking. Especially when you come to the Oboli clan, which consists of Adani, the local government headquarters. You have Ojo, you have Asaba, you have Iga, and you have Ogurugu. These are Igala speaking communities in Enugu State, the Oboli clan. If you go further to Enugu State, Ete, it's Igala speaking. And a lot of Enugu people also related to Igala, even within the Nsukka zone. It is difficult to see an Nsukka town without an Igala, Igala footprint there in origin, in Nsukka. Very difficult. So we don't come here and talk as if the entire Igbo the issue of ethnic identity is a holistic matter. It's an umbrella covering every group of people because of your political ends, because of your political selfishness. You come to Imo State. Uguta is already established that they say they are not Igbo, they originated from Benin. Uguta. It is stated. It is confirmed. No debate about it. Living in Uguta, you go to Egbema people. If you go to Ohaji Egbema local government area, Ohaji Egbema local government is divided into, you have Ohaji people who are pure Igbo. Then you have Egbema people who are related to the Egbema and River State. They are Ijo people who migrated, even though they speak Igbo today. They migrated from Ijo in Delta State. The Ijo people, Egbema people in Imo State. If you go to Abia State now, the whole Ohafia and Arotuku local government areas are a mixture of Koi people, Northern Cross River people, the Bibio, the Jukun, and the Igbo. The Ohafa people, a lot of them, the founders and leaders of Ohafa people, migrated from Edo State. Or what reason? They migrated there, from there to Andoni, from Andoni to their present site. Ohafia people who constitute the majority of Ohafia local government area today. And within that Ohafia local government area, you have other 2 towns. Mporo, which is purely Ibibio in origin. They left Arochukwu during the Aga Ibibio, the Ibibio War, and went up northwest to settle in the present Igbo. Abriba people, who are mostly blacksmiths, because in Igbo land we have 3 groups of professional blacksmiths: the Oka blacksmith, the Nkwere blacksmith, and the Abriba blacksmith. They migrated from Eko, not across the river, not Igbo. They are talking of Arochukwu. Arochukwu town, with its 19 villages and so on and so forth, is purely a mixture of Ibibio and Jukun, with few Igbo people there, and Jukun. Learning people, business concern, and proximity and interaction with people who speak the same language can force people to start speaking the same language. When I was in Togo, I visited the main Okrika second-hand clothing market built for Igbo people in Lome, dominated by people from Abreba. There you see many Togolese who learn to speak English and Igbo right there in the market. So language learning has nothing to do with your roots. After all, there are many people who claim to, who you cannot deny their Igbo identity, but they cannot speak their language. They're over there across Europe, even there in Lagos, because the Igbo man has a propensity, he has a tendency, in order to prove that he's better civilized than his neighbor, to teach his children English other than his native language, unlike Yoruba and Hausa and other people. So you see a lot of Igbo people today in Lagos State, whose children cannot speak their language. They speak fluently Yoruba and English language. Now, in future, will you now say that those people are no longer Igbo because they could not speak their language? I have my cousin's children, the Mamonye, right there in Lagos. Right there in Lagos. The Mamonye in Indiana now, United States of America. Right there in Lagos, I was often complaining to him and his wife. Incidentally, his wife is from Orifte in Anambra State, but none of them could make their children to speak Igbo language right there in Lagos, not there in the United States. And it's final. The Igbo language they did not learn in Nigeria, is it United States of America they will learn it? And tomorrow when they come and say, oh, I'm Igbo, and someone say, yeah, it's Igbo because you can't speak Igbo language. It's not possible. It's not tenable. Ethnic identity, racial identity is different from language, because language learning is fluid. It is not constant. It is fluid. You go to Abia I'm now talking about I've now spoken about Arochukwu, the Jukun who are known as Apa, who conquered Ibibio there and then took over power. And later, the Igbo group there who invited them now took over. You still have the Ibibio people there, Ibomisi, who are there. They still maintain the Ibibio identity. The Akwa people still maintain the Ibibio identity. And in fact, before 1960, Arochukwu was not in Bende division. It was in Enyong division in the present Cross River State. And that was even where Avani Koku and his son, LG Koku, contested the election. And they were representing Enyong district. It was after independence that they walked, they protested through Ziks and Mbadiwe and other Arab people from around this area, and said, you need to come back to the east. And there was boundary adjustment, and they were pushed into the Bende division. Otherwise, Arochukwu should be in Akwa Ibom State today. So when you are talking of Igbo, naming of Igbo, and so on, it does not agree. It does not go always with ethnic identity or one's ethnic origin. Language does not always go that way. The present Akwa Ibom, if people don't know, it was Akwa Igbo Earlier slave, European slave traders named them, classified the present Ibibio as a branch of Igbo people. And because of the Akwa River, they call them Akwa Ibom, the Akwa River. So, and they decided, the people decided to put M there to differentiate it from real Igbo. But it was actually Akwa Igbo. That is the dynamics of name changing, dynamics of ethnic identity. That it takes people who studied history, anthropology, and other related disciplines in university to understand. It's not a social media contest matter. It is not. We have now seen it. From you go to now to Ebonyi State, Ntezi in particular, Ntezi people, initial local government, they speak a different language, foreign language from Upper Cross River, or Taraba State or something like that, or Benue State or something like that. They speak different thing altogether. And if you go to the Igbo local government area, you have a lot of them not speaking Igbo language, but speaking a core language. So the southeast geopolitical zone, and let us also bear in mind that the present Ebonyi State was part of Ogoja province. It was after the creation of states, East Central states, by Jiraga that they were pushed into the East Central state. But originally, the present Ebonyi State was part of Cross River, Ogoja province. Ogoja province. So in actual sense, if we had left it that way, the present Ebonyi State should have been part of the present Cross River State. So these are the things we have to. Anioma State has come to the stage where matters, specific matters, should be referred to those who are trained, who are specialists in those areas. And not people just adorning, some people adorning red cap, coming out to come there, whereas in their hometowns, they cannot speak, they cannot decide for their own Omuna, addressing or telling us the history of Anioma, and so on and so forth, because of their selfish ends, because of the little peanut they are being paid by somebody who is taking Anioma State creation as his own political adventure, means of sustaining his political influence in Anioma State. So I remember, look, I have colleagues who are historians in the Southeast, both home and abroad. And I stand to be corrected in whatever facts I am presenting concerning the Southeast. The Southeast is not holistically Igbo. Just as Anioma State is not holistically Igbo. So if Anioma State decides to say, look, we are not joining, we have the reason. Some people, some parts of Anioma say, look, we are not Igbo. Accept it as such. There are people who still accept their Igbo identity. Respect their own views, respect their own identity. You don't go to the social media and start abusing people, even abusing our traditional rulers. We have respect. We respect our traditional institutions in Anioma land. For us, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have any business. What concerns, I don't have any business with Anioma State creation. We don't need it now. That is, even our own problem now is, if Nigeria separates today, where are we going? Are we staying back with our Bende people to form the old Benin Republic? Or are we following Mwoko and his group to form Biafra Republic? This is the question I'm leaving to my Anioma people. And this question is predicated on the issue of whether Anioma people are joining the Southeast or they're remaining where they are. Those who are thinking about joining the future Biafra are the people who are struggling now, who are saying, abusing everybody, thinking that it's through insults and curses and noise making that the people of Anioma will now be forced to join the Southeast. As I've always said, we were the only people who fought the British colonial masters during the pacification to a standstill. Nobody from the Southeast did not do anything. Even the Sokoto Caliphate did not do it. The Yoruba land did not do it. The Edo did not do it. No group fought the British. So you can't come and start dictating to us the way we will go. In the last Biafran war, we produced the best and fearless commanders of the Biafran forces. So you don't come and think you can dictate to us, this is where you go, as if we are your kids. We have taken our position. We have our own special identity, and we have to stand by it. And you don't regard, historically, you don't regard us as Igbo people, you regard us as Olu people. And when it also comes to national cake sharing, you don't treat us as Ndigbo. Obasanjo, President Obasanjo was about making Asiodo, Chief Philip Asiodo, Secretary to the Federal Government of Nigeria, Secretary to the Federation. It was the same Southeast people who protested that if he wants to appoint any person, any Igbo man should appoint from the Southeast. And that was why, in annoyance, President Obasanjo decided to go to Akwa Ibom to appoint the SGF. We sat down in Uturu and decided to fight for Igbo presidency. When the time for Igbo presidency came, they now said, no, it is for Southeast. And they invited Senator Anyam, to come and give one frivolous lecture that the presidency as defined should be Igbo of Southeast, not Igbo of South-South. He delivered it. They went out to even employ the revered Ijo leader, Chief Ike Clark, to come and say, oh, Anioma should not talk of presidency because they are not really Igbo. And you are telling us, you are not telling us that we are Igbo, that we should join you. Is that how things work in Nigeria? People should not know right away that if there be an Igbo president of that federation, that Igbo president will normally come from Anioma land. Because Anioma people are more acceptable to other parts of Nigeria than the Igbo of Southeast. So let us look at it this way. First, the idea of Igbo identity for Anioma people was a colonial, or let me say, it's a colonial creation. We were never known as Ndigbo by the present Igbo of Southeast. Secondly, the present Igbo of Southeast are not all made up of Igbo people, both in tongue and in identity and even in origin. So if you are not, if you are not collectively all Igbo, how can you now come? With which animal borders will now come to tell another person that it has to be Igbo when you are not complete Igbo in yourself? And finally, and that is my own position, as I stated earlier, Anioma state creation has 3 groups now. The Biafran group, who want to push Anioma people to Biafra. And then with Nigeria breakthrough, they push Anioma people to Southeast, push us to Southeast so that it will be easier, without the inkling caution that an ethnic group circumscribed within one geographical group has disadvantage, both economically, politically, because if they're not voting And the whole Southeast, if a president, if the whole Igbo-speaking people are now in the Southeast geopolitical zone, and they said Southeast president, and the whole people give him 100% of their votes, will he become president? Is there any spread there? That is the problem. That's the advice I'm giving my Southeast brothers. Those who want to learn, that they should be a bit politically matured and leave the chaff and pursue the main grain, the tangible issues that surrender, that concern the Igbo people. Leave Anioma people alone to decide where they will go. The second group are those, as I said, led by Asaba of Asaba. His Royal Majesty would be Professor Epiphanius Zinge, that believe in the creation of an Anioma state, but it has to remain in Southside geopolitical zone. While the third group, of which I belong, are those who say we don't need an Anioma state. Present Delta State is our Anioma state. We are not lacking anything. We have the capital, all the appointments that we deserve, we have it. There's no way the Robo governor will give all the appointments to all the Robo people. It's not possible. No governor can alienate any other, because no single ethnic group in Delta State can win the governorship alone. And that is the balance we want to stand firm and work on. Thank you, gentlemen. May God bless all those people who have taken time to listen to me. When further issues arise, I'll be back again to share my opinion with you. Thank you, and God bless you.